Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. It's been a while since I've posted, and I've been wanting to, but it seems that so much of the same kinds of things were happening, and the message that I had to deliver was the message that I had delivered several times before, even now. Yet I am inspired to deliver. Here's the question, ladies and gentlemen: what can we do to make our lives better? And indeed, it must be our lives better and not my life or your life, but our lives better. It is only when we are concerned about our lives are we entitled to having better. My life better without yours is a curse against God. Your life better than mine is a curse against God. Our lives, because of our love and connection with God working out together, that is an expression of the understanding of truth and love. Now, what we have here in America is that, and it's nothing different than same things that happen around the rest of the world. It's just here in America we see it up close. And what is happening and has happened is that we came up in a situation where people had no respect for humanity. The reason that they have no respect for humanity is because it has been denied the teachings. It's just as we here in America, they wanted to start teaching kids about the early life, the American way. They wanted to teach kids about the slavery and what it was all about. And what happened? The people in power said, no, we don't want to teach them anything about that. We don't want them to know that. We want to hide that, whitewash that. And that's the same thing that happens when we talked about the even greater things of life. They did the same thing. They're ashamed of it. They're hide, and they want to hide it, pretend as if they are okay. That's the same thing that happened during the 60s and the 70s and 80s up until now, when call themselves dealing with the freedom struggles and for the rights of humanity and the rights of man and all that kind of stuff. It was just a hogwash. It was a conversation delivered because people knew it was the genuine kind of way to be. And so, to a certain extent, after fighting over and over and over again, they were able to institute a law that required that people act a certain way or give a certain conduct under the penalty of law. It didn't change anything. It was just people would now have to be forced to do something that they didn't want to do, but they didn't want to go to jail or some other punishment. So they conformed. They conformed. That was oppression, conformity. And they had nothing to do with except conform or disobey. And they weren't going to disobey. And so this is the things that has happened in our lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. So we conform to this way, just like people conform. And you can, I want to tell you that happened in America with Donald Trump. You got a chance to see how people conform. What happened was this. You know affirmative action? Affirmative action was supposed to help people who had been painted. But in order to help people who had been painted, their efforts were to cause some pain somewhere else that had not been painted. Still pain. You just switched it around. That's stupidity. That's blindness. And when you really get down to it, who's angry? Having done this for several times, both parties are angry at you, at whoever made those decisions, both parties, because neither of you had a solution that worked for both of you. And you found yourselves not even worrying about the other one. All you were worrying about is yourself. That's the way, that's why it happens, to worry about yourself. That's the conduct of humanity as we know it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what my purpose in life has been is to do this, is to share with you what you have not known. I declare you do not know the way of God's love. Most everybody in America, and probably everybody in the world, thinks the world turns on money. It does, because that's the way away from God. That's how you're controlled. That's how you're manipulated. That's a tool that's being used to make fools out of all humanity. My message is to tell you, to remind you what your spirit already knows, but your psychic, your head job has been trained together, altogether different. But I want to say to you, there's a God, and it is not government. Government is really, the purpose of government really is designed to speak and take care of the people's business. The people tell the government what they want done and what's to be done, and the government does it. The government don't go out making decisions in behalf of people. The people make decisions themselves, and they tell the government or instruct the government or pass it on up around to the government, and the government sees how it's done. Now, when you start saying when you start seeing the citizen, the average Joe Blow, picking citizens to go somewhere and make a decision for you, you are already in bondage. Because now you're walking to the dictates of other people, just like in America, walking to the dictates of other people. When Barack Obama was president, Mitch McConnell's head of the Senate decided that he was not going to do anything to help Barack Obama be successful. However, he still served 2 terms. But just the same, all of the stuff that could have been achieved was denied because of the game that was being played. The game that was being played. And that game is still being played today. And we, the American people, sit out there wondering what we're going to do, what decision to make, what kind of people would do that. People who are not aware of the understanding of God, that God says, I am the power. You give your allegiance to me. I'll direct your path, just like I directed Moses, just like I directed Paul, just like I directed everybody you know about in the Bible. I will direct your path. I don't need you to listen to those guys. Open up your heart to me as they did, and I will instruct you. I will tell you what steps to make. And even though you might not be collectively knowing to working together, and many things, yet what you do will guide you straight to the path that leads to all of the things that you want, need, and desire. This is what my message is to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. You got to forget the stuff about the normal way of doing stuff. Biden's a good man, but the normal way of doing stuff, his time is over. It has gone. Right now, the normal way of doing things, time has come and gone. Right now, evil is champion everything. The lies are catching on like flies to a molasses bucket. And what is required to defeat that is the best that you can imagine. It is required to defeat that lie, the best that you can imagine. And who's blessed by that? Humanity is blessed by that. That's God's way. Humanity, not just you, not just me or you. No. Humanity is blessed. And that tells us that we will never have to suffer for food, clothing, shelter, education, or health care, anything like that, as long as the materials are given by that power. And we who would benefit from it allow ourselves to be engaged in the process of making sure that an abundance is always in existence. This is what we call the promised land. We don't run anywhere, because everywhere is the promised land, and everywhere belongs to one another. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to stop now. I just wanted to talk with you for just a few minutes and let you know that you're not alone, that God loves you, and if you will allow God to lead you, God will. God is already there. Forgive me for saying he. I don't know anything about God being a he or she or anything that's physical. I know that God is a spirit. I know it's real because that I have the evidence. And I speak to you because I have the evidence. And I know with the evidence, you can speak boldly. And I know that having the evidence will not allow the American people or the humankind to act the way they act in regards to one another. So having said that, I want you to know that God loves you, I love you, and I got business to go take care of, okay? Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.